Hello and welcome everyone to the top 16 of round 1 at Słomczyn of DMP 2025, the Polish Drift Championship. My name is Brandon Carr and I'm joined in the commentary booth with Kian Reedy. We are back once again after top 32 action. It was absolutely insane, but now the top 16 is where it's going to get even more intense.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. This is going to be an incredible top 16. We have some absolutely amazing battles lined up. We've got to start us off already a huge battle. Nasser versus Utasi. Nasser Al-Harbali getting a win in top 32, topping qualifying yesterday, and Utasi getting through in that top 32 battle against Homan Zolt as well, having a very good battle with him. So I can't wait for this. This is going to be an absolutely unbelievable set of runs. Looking through the bracket here, we've got Suski versus Vetemark as well. You can see there is on your screens our dates for all our rounds this year. So we are here today at Autodrom Słomczyn and we are getting ready for our top 16 action here. Brandon, what have you been making of this DMP round so far?
Honestly, with the track conditions and everything, it's been absolutely insane, and I do believe we're going to go through it.
Mamy oczywiście długą, prostą, na której zawodnicy mają się rozpędzić, i ta linia, którą teraz widzicie na ekranie, ona wyznacza punkt inicjacji. W tym miejscu zawodnicy muszą jechać już pełnym kątem. No i pierwsza część trasy to jest Inner Clip 1, tu gdzie są te trzy linie. Idealnie jest wtedy, kiedy zawodnik jest przednim prawym kołem przy tarce. Przechodzimy do zony zewnętrznej numer 1. Ona nie jest na krawędzi, więc tam jest trochę zapasu, ale lepiej nie wylatywać. Następnie mamy szykanę, zona zewnętrzna numer 2, przed nią strefa do odhamowania, czyli tak zwany diesel zone. Zona numer 3 w tym drugim łuku tam na zewnętrznej i zawodnicy muszą zejść do środka, żeby złapać zonę numer 4, którą widzimy w tym momencie na ekranie. I przed nami jeszcze dwie zony, czyli zona numer 5 i 6. W tym momencie widzimy zonę numer 5, tu już jest strefa odhamowania, więc tu trzeba tę prędkość wytracić i trzeba ją wytracić odpowiednio, żeby złapać zonę numer 6. I teraz bardzo ważna rzecz, nie można w zonie 6, a raczej przed zoną numer 6 wylecieć na tarkę, no bo sędziowie bardzo mocno zwracali uwagę na to, że takie wypadnięcie kołami na tarkę, no oznacza po prostu 0.
And there you have it. There is the track rundown for this layout here at Słomczyn Autodrom. This is an insane track. There's a lot of intense technical sections. As you can see, where a lot of people seem to be going wrong is there's a lot of mistakes coming from the transition in that middle section where you do the big manji and enter into outside zone 2. And usually if you end up shallow, your line isn't the best for 3. And obviously, as you move through the course, if you're not set up for the majority of it, it makes it very hard. But we do have our list of judges there, our amazing judging panel who have been doing absolutely insane all day. They've been doing some amazing calls and doing a great job there. They are our lovely judges for our 2025 DMP season, doing a great job. And I love his hat in the background. I love his sombrero. That's so cool.
He's wearing it inside too. There's no sun. There's no reason for him to be wearing that other than looking cool.
It's just style, honestly. I don't blame him. But I'm very excited to witness this first battle. I know that it's going to be mostly heavy hitters from here on out. And obviously we've had quite a few different interesting battles previously in the top 32. A lot of hits. So like I was just saying, we had a lot of interesting top 32 battles. But now we move on to the top 16.
Yeah, top 16 here to start us off. Nasser Al-Harbali versus Peter Utasi, Fabian Dorzinski versus Kamil Horecki, Mateusz Suski versus Viktor Vetemark, Bartosz Solarski versus Mikołaj Zarakewski, Jakub Kroll versus Mad Anderson, Andrzana Fiał versus Ores Miselchuk, Lukas Taszemski versus Kuba Prygonski, Valtteri Shevelov versus Piotr Kozłowski. So, an absolutely stacked top 16 here to kick off the rest of this round 1 and this season in general. The start of the season, usually you have ups and downs, but we will get straight into it here with Peter Utasi going to chase out Nasser Al-Harbali. You can see there that F22 making 950 horsepower as opposed to Nasser Al-Habali with that boss kit S13, that lovely big V8 under the hood, making over 1,000 horsepower. The man from El Salvador drifts out of Dubai nowadays, but he is here in Poland to make a name for himself in Europe.
Yeah, definitely. Nasser going very crazy in top 32 and in the qualified. So let's see what he can do, as we have Nasser now leading in that awesome F32, very close on the initiation, going from inner plate 1 to outside zone 1. Lovely stuff here in proximity from the chase so far as they come through. Lots of angle, but contact being made, going through towards outside zone 3. As he continues to run, but unfortunately, that is going to be a massive disadvantage to the chase driver, unfortunately.
Actually making a bit of an error there. When we come through this section, it's very nice and clean here. Obviously both drivers going very quickly through this section. As they transition back here, let's watch it. As Nasser transitions, he goes to fill outer Zotun very nicely. Utasi follows in, but does go a little bit wide, and while making that dive, does hit Nasser Al-Harbali there. And now Peter Utasi does finish out the run just to make sure, in case it was not his fault. He does go finish that run three-wheel motion in that F22 BMW, but I think that was a very large mistake. To work or look at his car, as he is deemed at fault, and there are no 5-minute rules in DMP. So judges having a quick look at this one just to make sure that everything's box ticked. We do have Utasi back on the line here. I do not see Al-Harbali.
I think Nasser is there. He's just making sure things are okay. Another thing to look at is potentially, did Nasser come off throttle for too long and just not get onto power quick enough?
That's another possibility. Yeah, we could be looking at something like this. This is why the judges might be taking a very good look at this before they do give a competition timeout, and looking like we might have damage here on this car.
Obviously that is the point of,
yes, tire off the rim there, look.
It's a D-bead.
So will we get a competition timeout to change them tires? I'm not too sure.
We will have to see. Obviously, if he is allowed to sort the D-bead out, that does mean that Peter is at fault.
Yeah, I see Peter reversing away from the line there, so that would mean, well, it indicates to me that they are after deeming a competition timeout to Nasser, and we will move on to our next battle while Peter waits in the background there. So our next battle then is Fabian Dorzinski versus Kamil Horecki on the line here now, Brandon.
Yep, indeed. Fortunate way to start that battle, but hopefully we'll get a clear decision at the end of all of this as we now move on to this one. Obviously, we got two amazing drivers once again. It is only going to get bigger and better as we go along.
As you see the mobile start line there turning into a bouncy castle.
I know, right? It seems like it's getting a bit windy. Either that or the start line's very excited.
Well, if I was a start line and I saw these cars going through the start gate that's underneath me, I'd get very excited too. Look at some of these cars, they're unbelievable. There we go, Kamil Horecki, the Polish national there, 800 horsepower in that BMW E82, coming up against Fabian Dorzinski in that lovely S14-9 there, that Icelandic driver. 850 horsepower, Drift Chat sticker on the side there. Shout out to Drift Chat, good friend of myself and Brandon's, as the lights go red.
Here we go, Fabian in the lead, Kamil in the chase. Let's see what these two can do in the top 16 as we go into initiation. Very nicely in the clip one and out of one. Kamil doing all he can to try and keep there with Fabian, but currently there is a gap there as they come through outside zone 3. He's trying to get the proximity, he's struggling to find it as they come around through outside zone 4, transitioning to 5. There is no argument really here for Kamil. Fabian doing an incredible lead line as they come across the line.
Yeah, let's have a look at that now. So, really, really great initiation out front by Fabian, and Horecki just kind of getting caught up a little bit on the curb there as we go to transition back through the Manji section. Horecki has a lot of work to do here to get back up onto the door of Fabian Dorzinski as we come in. Fabian doing a fantastic job filling that outer zone 2. Horecki cutting the line a little bit to try and make up some proximity here. As Fabian runs that lovely outer line, we see Horecki actually getting a little bit closer there and then dropping back again, coming through outer zone 4, going a little bit wider than he'd like there. Coming into the D-cell here, we do see him try to make a dive here, go in tight around this hairpin corner. But I think that was all she wrote there for Horecki. As we move it back to the line, go around to the second half of this run, we will see them switched around. We will see Fabian to chase out Horecki here.
Indeed, now we have Fabian in the chase. Hopefully we have a bit more of a clear cut compared to previous battles. Obviously it's all down to them right now. Anything can happen in this next run, so we'll have to see. Will it make it hard for the judges, or are they going to be really, really concise and do what they need to do? Obviously Kamil not having the best chase, so potentially could have a disadvantage here, with Fabian now having to try and put on the show for everyone. As we have the lights go green, we send these boys down the main straight. Lovely initiation between the two. Kamil right there, doing a lovely lead so far, but look at Fabian right there on the door. Look, Kamil goes deep, he drops off, but he managed to keep it going. Really, really nice work there for both of them, reacting well to the situation and adapting. But look at Fabian just sticking onto the door of Kamil. He didn't even need to. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, so let's look at the initiation here. So initiating very, very nice from both drivers. Fabian really getting up on the door of Horecki as we come through the outer zone 1 here. We transition back through this Manji section. Proximity is still really, really good here from Fabian as he makes another dive down through outer zone 2. As we come through outer zone 2 though, Horecki does drop wheels off. 3 wheels off there, nearly 4 wheels off the track there. How he managed to hold that around there with all the marbles and rubber. There's very little grip out there, is unbelievable. As they come back down to the D-cell zone here, Fabian kind of realizes, right, I kind of have to give him a little bit of space here, dial it back a little bit, and coming through outer zone 6 powers both cars across the line, and we will bring them down to the decision area while we line up the drivers in the back of Suski and Vedemark. 2 guys out of the cars, having a bit of a conversation, and our decision does come in, and going through to the top 8 is Fabian Dorzinski. So he makes it through the Icelandic national, getting through there, and Kamil Horecki dropping out of competition in the top 16. Savage driving from him yesterday and today, so we will see him back for round 2 better than ever.
Definitely, that was a clinical chase there from Fabian, doing everything he needed to do. And to be honest, he did more than he needed to do in that chase, if I'll be perfectly honest. And but also got to give it to Camille that both of those drivers reacted perfectly during that dirt drop, and they kept the run going. So massive kudos to them for keeping that run nice and flowy regardless of what was happening. But now we have Victor Vetemark with Matusz Suski, two really good drivers. And yeah, no, this is amazing. I've just seen someone's asking about what does KM mean. That is horsepower. Yep, and now we have that A90 Supra leading in that S14.9. Nice initiation from Suski. Maybe going a bit too deep in out zone 1. Yep, definitely. Oh, Bimbo getting way too close. Making contact there as they come around. The line from Suski wasn't the best in the middle, but there was absolutely no need for that kind of aggression through there, as Vetemark has to shut it down.
Yeah, I think Vetemark realizing the speed in that A90 Supra of Suski. So let's have a look here. When we initiate, Suski does start to pull a little bit of a gap more than Vetemark would have liked. So they come through outer zone 1 here as they transition back. Suski is really hitting that cone really inside, and Vetemark makes contact before outer zone 2. That would upset Suski's line 100%. Vetemark shuts it down a little bit there and tries to reinitiate, can't get it to reinitiate, and Suski does continue out the run around to outer zone 4, doing what he has to. He knows something happened. He doesn't know whose fault it probably was at that point, but yeah, Vetemark getting a little bit too aggressive there, I think, and really having to shut down that car completely. So
do you think
maybe some damage to that car?
Suski going so shallow in the Manji section, obviously you want to be more towards the upper half of the track, and I think that did choke Victor off a bit going through there, so potentially could be deemed at fault on Suski as well. So we'll have to see what the judges think of that.
Absolutely, in the chase position there, like Vetemark would have been looking for Suski to be that little bit further up, so when he goes to make that dive, he's looking to be on the transition point as quick as possible so he can drop into the pocket. But really what happened there was when Suski did come in that little bit too shallow, did cause a little bit of a hit there. So the judges will look at this. Vetemark has not pulled to the line yet, so we could be looking at a competition time out, maybe, depending on who's deemed at fault. No, he's pulling to the line. Okay, so we are ready. I do think it was second half of the battle.
I do think it was just Vetemark just making sure that there was no major damage to the car, having a quick check over before he was sent out for his run. Suski's shaking his head like, I don't know what happened there.
That Kevlar kid is absolutely warped.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Victor's just kind of locking in now, making sure that he's ready to go. The main thing is that the start line judges is looking for is that the panels do not move. So as long as it's secured safely, that's all they're looking for. But now we send him once again. Victor Vetemark in the lead and Matusz Suski in the chase. Oh, but Victor not initiating at all. What is going on? I am very confused.
Maybe more damage to that S14.9 than initially expected for Vetemark there. Suski doing the right thing and shutting down behind him before he got too close. So yeah, these guys will drive around to the decision area here. Might get a replay of that. Let's see what happened, because that looked very different in a way. You even went to initiate there. It wasn't very natural looking, the line he was going to take. So we'll have a look at that there again. So he goes to flick, and when he just doesn't even turn the wheels into the corner. He just kind of drives. He looked like he was going to flick, but then didn't. So
I'm just thinking, could the car be down on power? Is there damage to the intercooler behind that bumper?
Yeah, possibly a boost leak there when when that impact happened, maybe knocked something fairly loose. So we will have to see what the judges make of that. I think it's fairly clear cut, because the drivers did attempt the second run, so no fault deemed in that first run of the competition timeout. So we will get them down to that decision area to get a... I think we'll probably get a call on this as well, maybe after this, but we do have a decision, and the decision is Mateusz Suski gets the win and continues on to the top 8 here. So
Victor not looking very happy. Might have been mechanical, or it could just be he knew his time was done for today. Not too sure, but unlucky there. Hopefully we'll see him in round 2, bigger and better. Obviously these things do happen. Congratulations to Mateusz. But I do believe we are moving on to our next battle. I'm gonna guess the second half of this battle with Nasir will be later into the top 16.
yes, I would hazard a guess to that
Although
as well.
he does have 10 minutes.
Do we have Utasi on the
actually,
line there? The red car of Utasi?
That is a good point. It's very hard to see from here. Actually, that could be Nasir and Utasi there, actually.
So we might be going back to that battle there where the competition timeout was called, where Utasi was deemed at fault to get a competition timeout there for Nasser Al-Harbali after a bit of contact there. So we will just hopefully see down. I think that is them, yeah. Already plowing through this top 16. We are 3 battles in. Well, 2.5 battles in. We just need to get the last call from this. We'd be 3 battles in, and then one more battle after that. We are done this side of the bracket, Brandon. We are moving through these very, very quick. So that is, in fact, Nasser and Utasi on the line there for the second half of their battle.
Yes, indeed. So now we're going to get these guys ready to go again. Obviously, Nasir giving us some love there on the preview. What a happy guy. And here we go. Nasir chasing in Peter Utasi in that F22. Nice initiation there from Peter as Nasir comes through, knowing that he has made... Oh my word, look at the proximity from Nasir. The speed of that car. That S13 is on rails, but so is this F32 as they come round into the last corner now. But look at Nasir right on the door as they come around the last zone and across the line. God, Nasir's car is so nimble, it's quite scary.
Bit of contact right at the end there, but let's have a look at this. So Nasir, kind of a tentative entry in behind Utasi. Lets him kind of do his thing as they transition back through the Monji section here. Nasir starts to pile on some speed and get right up on the door of Utasi. Look at this proximity here from Al-Harbali as they come around. Utasi obviously missing that outer zone there in outer zone 3. Down around 2-4 goes both of them, and yeah, Nasir just dropping back, being smart, playing it cool, just letting Utasi do his thing out front here. But I think I saw a bit of contact right at the end here. We will have a quick look at it. So coming around here.
Nah, he just got out of it.
Missed. Just missed. Very, very well done there from Nasser, thrown on that bit of angle. And we do have a decision, and it is Nasser Al-Harbali going through to the top 8. He is having a wonderful weekend here this weekend. Peter Utasi, his weekend will end there, unfortunately, and we will see him back next month at round 2 at Katowice circuit. And we will move on to our last battle here of this side of the bracket, which is Stolarski and Mikołaj Zarkewski. So on the line there, we should have both of them. Yes, we do.
Obviously, our Starline Marshals wishing him luck. Lovely to see. We're all a big family in this competition. And in every competition, to be honest, what drifting is very... Everyone's like a big family. We all love what we do. But Yeah, no, the Michelange's S15 looking absolutely insane. And obviously you've got Bartos with that awesome Rocket Bunny S15 as well. 2 S15s, no 14.9s, pure S15 goodness here. Both decently high powered. Let's see what they can do as they initiate in. Big flick there in the lead. Lovely through outside zone 1 as they come around into 2. But look at the dive there from Bartos in the chase, doing an absolutely gorgeous dive, but has to fall back as he shallows up his angle and then has to go back onto angle again as he come around now towards outside zone 6, doing a very nice job, but Bartos just losing his ground there.
Yeah, so let's take a look back at this here. So good initiation from both drivers. A little bit of a gap forming there between the two guys. So Stolarski does make a big dive here after the Monji section. So watch this, bang, and he reels him in nice and slowly, brings him up onto the door and gets there. Wheel to wing mirror and does shut off a bit of angle there, has a little bit of a bobble just getting there. As Mikołaj Zarakowski does start to pull away another little bit again as they come down into the decel zone here. Stolarski does drop a little bit of a wheel and that would hinder him getting back up onto the door of Mikołaj Zarakowski, and across the line they go, bringing us back around to the line where we'll switch them around, lead and chase, and see what the second half of this battle brings us, Brandon.
Yep. Very interesting first half. Obviously, Bartos has a lot of work to do here in the lead. I can't do my names today. I can't do my English. Mikolaj doing a very solid job in the lead. But obviously, there was a gap that started to form in that latter half of the run. So can Mikolaj keep the proximity more consistent than Bartos? That will be the main tiebreaker here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we wait for our start line marshal there, Brandon.
Here we go. So we got reds and now we got greens. There we go. Here we go for your last half of the top 16 bracket. Oh, sorry, the last battle of this half of the top 16 bracket, should I say, as they come around, just missing out on outside zone 1, coming around into outside zone 2. But once again, another gap forming. There's a lot of speed, but he does drop tyres on that outside line, coming around to outside zone 4 as Mikolaj comes in with all of the proximity. Lovely stuff there with a big dive, but has to pull out as Bartos does check up on the angle.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this now again. So Bartos, lovely initiation there, right onto where he's needing to be in inner 1, and does kind of just grab outer 1. When we transition back here to outer zone 2, we have Zarakowski making that dive, trying to get up there, but let's be honest, Stolarski's car is really fast, but Stolarski does drop a wheel onto the outer zone there, giving that little bit of chance for Mikołaj to get up onto that door, the S15. As we transition back into the decel zone here, we do see a little mistake here, I believe. As we get around, we just are too far up on that bank, and as the power comes back in, it just sends them straight down, missing that outer zone 6. So yeah, that bank playing with a lot of our drivers this weekend. Definitely yesterday. Definitely something that was affecting our drivers in qualifying, and we do have a decision here, and it is Mikołaj Zarakowski getting the win, going through to the top 8, and we will see him back for top 8, and Stolarski, we'll see him back in next month in round 2. So Mikołaj getting the win here, and as I'm looking at my screen here, I've just seen what Mikołaj comes up against. He comes up against Suski. So we will have Suski getting up against Mikołaj here, and as we move across to the other side of our bracket here, we have Mads Andersen versus Jakob Krul. So let's have a look here. That lovely S14.9 there from Jakob Krul. Jakob Krul, obviously a very talented driver, very high level driver, has been in Drift Masters a couple of times, and we'll see Mads Andersen getting up on the side of that S14-9 now as they come across the line through the start line chicane. Gets into initiation, big entry there from Jakob Krul and Mads Andersen right there with them as they transition back. Jakob Krul goes to fill outer zone 2, Mads Andersen staying right there, a little bit of a gap forming, cuts the angle to get up onto the side of that S14-9 as they transition back now into the decel zone. Anderson's going to try and make the most out of this, but he can't. Does fall behind, and that gap is still there throughout the run. So we'll have a look back at this again. Lovely entry from both drivers. Jakob just getting on that power a little bit early than Andersen. When we transition back here, Andersen like, right, I need to make a dive here. When he does transition back, Krul goes a little bit earlier than Andersen was expecting, I think, but Andersen still does manage to make a little bit of a dive and get closer to Jakob. But when we walk our way around here, that S14-9 is so fast as we transition back here. Just not exactly what Andersen was looking for, looking to make a dive here. View of the track here, we go back to the start line. Kuba, Krul on the start line in the chase position. Let's see what he can do. 918 horsepower in that S14-9s. We got Mads Andersen lining up in that lead lane for the second half of this battle. 92 Eurofighter right there, 850 horsepower in that car. Let's see what these guys will do. We get the red lights, 3, 2, 1, green lights will come on now. And we get them through the start line chicane. We go for a big flick initiation there from Andersen as we go through inner clip 1, outer zone 1, through the Manji section. Jakob Krul is right there through the whole section with Andersen. And Andersen tries to run away from Jakob Krul, but Jakob Krul just keeps getting closer and closer as they transition down here now into the decel. Krul places his S14-9 beautifully alongside that E92, and across the line they go. Wow, what a battle this is. Let's have a look at this here now.
Jakob Krul just been absolutely clinical as always. This is why he was such a high points contender last season.
Absolutely, yeah, it's doing a really good job here in the chase. As he did in his lead, just not putting a foot wrong, doing exactly what he needs to do to put that car where he needs it. And where he needs it right now is up on the door of that E92 Eurofighter, and he's doing just that throughout this whole run. Look at this, the decel zone. He placed his car, just has that little bit of a hesitation just to see where Andersen goes. And then as soon as he knows where that E92 is going to go, he follows it directly, straight across the line through outer zone 6. And we will get our decision here with our marshal. Both guys out of the cars. If you're in attendance, be sure to give them a round of applause, as I believe we will be getting us a decision now. And going through to the top 8 will be Jakob Krul. Kuba going through to the top 8. Mads Andersen, hard fought battle there from him, but unfortunately that will be the end of his weekend. And what a weekend it was for Andersen. Very good weekend from him after qualifying 15, getting through top 32. And we have a bit of an interview here with Jakob Krul.
Kuba Król z nami. Cześć Kuba.
Cześć, witam wszystkich.
No słuchaj, przyjeżdżają chłopaki z kraju, gdzie faktycznie mają króla, no ale trzeba im pokazać, kto tu rządzi.
Tak, no jesteśmy na Mistrzostwach Polski, więc wypadałoby, żeby Polak stanął na podium. Dam z siebie wszystko. Ten weekend jest naprawdę ciężki, zmierzyliśmy się z wieloma awariami, ale po tym przejeździe mogę powiedzieć, że samochód chodzi. Także będziemy dalej walczyć i dam z siebie wszystko.
No rozmawialiśmy wczoraj, mówiłeś o tych celach na ten sezon. Zapominamy o tym, co działo się w zeszłym roku, ale cele niezmienne.
No oczywiście, no każdy chyba rywalizuje najwyższy stopnie podium. Tutaj nie będzie inaczej, dam z siebie wszystko i na pewno będę walczył o jak najwyższe stopnie.
No widzieliśmy w zeszłym roku, że ze wszystkimi torami podczas driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski bardzo się dogadujesz, no ale to, co pokazujesz podczas tej rundy, no majstersztyk.
Daję z siebie wszystko, staram się bardzo mocno. Postaram się tą poprzeczkę podnieść jeszcze wyżej, ale tak, żeby nie przesadzić.
Trzymamy kciuki zatem. Kuba Król, dobijający się już w tym momencie do top 8. Dzięki, Kuba.
Dzięki wielkie.
And there you have it, a lovely little interview there with Jakob Kroll. But now on the line we have Alexandra Fial on the line in the chase position with that awesome looking S14 piloted by Orest. Honestly, that thing is absolutely mental. And I'm very excited to see this run as we have the start line marshal waiting to send them off. And here we go. Alexandra in the chase, Orest in the lead, S13 versus S14 as the tires squeal as they leave the line. Coming into that initiation, Alexander wanting to get close but loses a bit of pace, a bit of positioning there as they come through. Really nice route, and Orest is getting a really nice outside line. Very consistent so far as he comes to the outside zone 4. Alexander trying to get onto the door of Orest, but she can't seem to get the pace coming around here as they come across the line.
Yeah, that really good run there from both drivers. Let's see how we do here. So, Alexander Fial in the chase position do have a big gap there right from the get-go, but as we transition back here, and again, Alexandra does make this dive here and gets up closer to that S14. And as we power around this outer zone here, through outer zone 3 and down around to outer zone 4, you can see Alexandra doing all she can to keep that S13 alongside. As we transition back here into the decel zone, you see Orest definitely having that decel zone, using that to full effect, but Alexandra gaining a little bit of proximity there. And as they kind of almost triangulate that zone there, we'll see what happens the next section here, the next half of this battle. Clean from both drivers, one or two little mistakes, but other than that, we will be looking at a very exciting second half of this battle. We know what Alexandra Fial is like with her lead runs. They're always very nice, so we shall see.
Definitely, and it's going to be a very interesting second half of this battle. As you can hear, the sequential boxes slapping it into gear, ready to go down the main straight. Here we go, Alexander in the lead with that S14 in chase. Look at the proximity though from the get-go, a massive dive in the chase as they come around now into outside zone 2. God, where did I get 4 from? Oh, but Alexander, a bit of a check up there, but manages to keep it going nice and fast. Moving into outside zone 4 in the transition, coming through the smoke. Can he get the dive? Not so much as he wanted to, but comes across the line.
Yeah, this was really intense straight off the bat here. So like Alexandra coming out of the start line chicane, and look at the dive here from Orest. Perfectly onto the door there, maybe even a little bit of contact there. As we transition back, we get down and over again to outer zone 2 here. There's a little bit of gap forming there. Might have just caught Orest off guard there, how close he was on entry. Alexandra doing a very nice and tidy job around the outer zone here as we get down into outer zone 4. As we come around then, we come into this decel. And Alexandra, lovely through here. And Orest cutting that little bit of zone there to get up onto the door of that S13. And he does just that. He does get within a little bit closer proximity than he was. Not completely on the door, but he did get there in the end. So both drivers out of the cars, Alexandra and Orest. Alexandra doing a very good job there in that S13, really standing out as a driver here in this championship, one to watch. And one other drivers should definitely be worried about coming up against as well. as we wait for our judge's decision just to drop in. Both drivers waiting very, very patiently as we see Cooper Pogonski lining up behind both of those drivers. We have Lucas Toszemski and Cooper Pogonski up in the next battle. Judges doing a little bit of deliberation on this, and we do have a decision, and the decision is one more time. So they will be going one more time between Alexander Fiau and Orest Majkosuk. So we will see them back in a little bit. But for now, we will see judges coming in here now, I think.
Yeah, if we look on the first run, when Orest was running, he was having, he cut it quite a lot on the inner clip, which is quite a big mistake. And then his biggest mistake was at the last corner, where he cutted the line a lot, and then he needed to decelerate, open up the angle to actually get to outer zone 6, which was very hard for the chaser to follow something like that. When we switched positions, Ola was having 2 times wheel off. One was in the big corner and second one was just before the finish line. She was also left foot braking at inner clip, which was quite hard for the chaser. He almost hit her, but he was able to get over it. And then there was some correction and the deceleration was slightly longer. So we saw quite a lot of mistakes on both sides. So it is way better to send it one more time and see who will be better.
And there we go. Just a little call on why that is an OMT. Once again, thank you to our judges for being very transparent and clear about why these decisions are happening. As without transparency, we wouldn't have a good championship.
And I think you're seeing what I'm seeing here. We have Lukasz Toszemski out of the car. That S14 parked up there while Cooper Pogonski is on the line. Maybe car issues for Toszemski, maybe. We will have to get some information there, I think. But yeah, Cooper Pogonski on the line there. And his hands up in the air going, what is going on? Lukasz did come over to him and explain something to him there. He still seems a bit confused. But
it looks like it's a buy run.
Yeah.
It is going to be a buy run.
Underneath the back of that S14 there, obviously something happened in the warm-up there.
Look at the way that car moves. That is insane how fast that car is. Like,
that is a well-engineered car. That's what that is.
Yeah, honestly, it's perfection. Like,
the
hands down.
Research and development put onto that car is insane.
Oh
I'd
yeah,
love to be able to get a really deep dive into that car, have a look at all the things, and have someone explain to me why they do things a certain way. But yeah,
honestly,
the speed and the grip out of that car is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it is perfectly set up, and obviously the team behind the scenes making that car and the whole operation really for Cooper Pogonski's career, they have been a pinnacle section of helping him get to where he is, and obviously they all work toe in toe together. So honestly,
and Brandon, we know anyone in Cuba does use the sim quite a bit for training and testing different setups. He's a very, very good sim team behind him. And the level of detail they put into his sim car is incredible in terms of how they set up the car and everything. They can really do test real life setups in the sim, and it is wild how much better it makes the car, and they can make changes to the car in the sim before they even make them on the real car and know how the car is going to react. So we do have Kuba down here. I think we're going to get an interview with Lukasz. We can see our interviewer down there with him. So
he's
a little bit upset there, as you would be, as they tow his car away. Kuba sitting there waiting for his official call.
Definitely a look of a defeated man. Unfortunately, that is the worst way to go, is through mechanical failure before you even get to the line. And my heart goes out to him. Like, that is gut wrenching to experience, and hopefully he can have that sorted for next round.
Look at this, Brandon, on the line. Peter Kozłowski,
escape
your
this car.
favorite. It is unbelievable. I don't want to escape this car. This is very cool. And coming up against Shevlov, Valtteri Shevlov from the Ukraine, 1,000 horsepower in each of these cars, Brandon.
Oh yeah, there's some serious power between both of these cars, and serious talent between the two of these drivers. Obviously, Peter has been driving that car for a long while now, but I'm not too sure how long Shevlov's been driving that S13, but as you can hear, it is screaming off the line in that orange S13. Peter coming in now. Nice initiation there from Shevlov. But Peter going a bit deep into outside zone 1, coming around now into the manji of outside zone 2, coming around to 3, but Peter is nowhere to be seen. Shevlov is just absolutely gapping Peter as he comes around now to the last corner. Lovely detail there as they come around into outside zone 6. Perfect around there. And Peter just was not there to create an argument. There was no conversation to be had. Shevlov said goodbye.
Yeah, if you look at the difference in the two cars, even the attitude here, Shevlov looks like he has an insane amount of grip. But if you look at the way Kozłowski's car is moving, it looks like it's set up very loose. So his car is hitting a lot of angle. So even here in this transition, look at the amount of angle he piles on. And that will not help him in getting speed up to Shevlov, trying to get up onto that door. So Shevlov absolutely running away with this one, with a big gap between the two drivers here. As we bring it down into the decel zone, Kozłowski obviously has a lot of room to make up there, but even look there, look at the amount of angle he drops on there to try get up onto the door and shortcut the circuit, but it just isn't enough. So Shevlov doing a fantastic job in that lead there, really setting up that car exactly how he needs it, and maybe some sort of problem with Kozłowski's car compared to earlier. He might have done a little bit of a setup change in the wrong direction, but we shall see in the second half of this run where we have Shevlov to chase in Peter Kozłowski.
Indeed, and obviously Peter Kozłowski very experienced in this car. He's been running it for a couple of seasons now. Valtteri Shevlov coming in. They're very matched on power though, that is the thing. And I've just noticed Valtteri Shevlov has the same number as James Dean in this series, which is really cool. As they come around now into the initiation, Shevlov right there next to Peter as he come through outside turn 1, doing a lovely job between the two of them. Nice transition, lovely mimicking there in the chase as they come around to outside zone 3. Very nice in the lead so far as they hit outside zone 4 for the last transition. Big transition between the two of them, coming around to out 6, but Peter does drop tyres there as they come across the line.
Yeah, very smart driving here from Shevlov. If you watch this now, he does maintain that little bit of a gap there, just not too far away, just close enough to let Kozłowski know, look, I'm still here, I'm not going anywhere. And when they transition around here, as they're coming around this big corner here, if you watch the front of Shevlov's car, he is left foot braking there just to keep that little bit of a gap between, he's still within a car length of him, just making sure that he's not falling too far behind, still mimicking that lead driver as best he can as they come down into the decel here. He will get as close as he wants for comfort, completely out of him, and he knows, he would have known his spotter getting onto the radio to him during the little break between the two runs there, what happened previously in the lead run of Shevlov. So two drivers will get out of the car here, they'll get their helmets off and have a bit of a chat. We will wait for the judges' scores to come in. Shevlov going straight down to the back of his car to have a look at something, and Shevlov gets the win. So Valtteri Shevlov getting the win, going through to the top 8 there, as we will move back to that one more time between Aleksandra Fiel. Oh, we have an interview here.
Łukasz Tasiemski z nami. Tasiem, no co możemy powiedzieć, no?
No po prostu brak słów, dawno nie byłem tak nagrzany na pojedynek, chciałem po prostu z Kubą Przykońskim dać fajne show, chciałem go cisnąć od pierwszego metra i na tym ładnym jego aucie zostawić bardzo dużo śladów, byłem tak na niego nagrzany i po prostu no pękła półoś podczas rozgrzewania opon i moje, no po prostu to no, odcięło mi moje chęci bo naprawdę byłem tak nagrzany na Kubę, że uważam, że byłaby naprawdę fajna zabawa.
No my też czekaliśmy, no to taki trochę mały finał by był między wami. Kuba, wielokrotny mistrz Polski, który tutaj wraca z dziką kartą, ty też wracający po przerwie w tym aucie tutaj specjalnie zbudowanym. No mówiłeś o tym, że cele są najwyższe, no ale tak też w tym sporcie czasem bywa, no nikt tego nie mógł przewidzieć.
No to jest piękno tego sportu, to są emocje dla kibiców, no takie rzeczy się zdarzają, to jest motorsport, samochody są wyżyłowane. Wczoraj w kwalifikacjach udało się być w czołówce, no miałem chrapkę naprawdę, żeby tutaj powalczyć ze wszystkimi, a szczególnie właśnie z Kubą, gdzie mieliśmy taki mały finał w top 16.
Czy to faktycznie jest tak, że jak ten samochód jest niemalże idealnie ustawiony, to jest bardzo cienka granica właśnie między tym, że on działa perfekcyjnie, a zaraz coś pójdzie nie tak?
Właśnie na Kubę miałem najbardziej ustawione zawieszenie trakcyjnie, tak samo opony Performance, Extreme Performance Tires, szedłem maksymalnie ściśnienia. Naprawdę miałem auto tak zgripowane, że no, po prostu muszę gdzieś pójść i się chyba teraz wyżyć, bo emocje we mnie kipią, nie?
No nie będziemy cię trzymać, jeśli chcecie coś zrobić, to zostawcie Tasiemowi na socialach serduszko albo rakietę, żeby wrócił w następnej rundzie i pokazał, kto tu rządzi.
Dziękuję bardzo i trzymajcie kciuki, jeszcze tutaj wrócę.
Yeah, so we are hearing there, so broke half shafts in the warm-up of the tyres there, did Lukash, and clearly very, very upset about that. Very annoying way to be bowing out a competition for anybody would get upset over that, completely understandable, but unfortunately that's how drifting goes sometimes. Warming tyres at these guys, they have really, really high performance tyres, and they can be very, very sticky, and you can end up causing issues for yourself. As we go to this one more time between Alexandra Fiau and Orest Mikoshuk here, as Alexandra Fiau goes to chase in Orest, and a little bit of a late initiation there from Alexandra as they power through the Manji section here. Orest doing a very nice tidy job out front. Alexandra cutting some angle there to get up onto the door of that S14 as they come around outer zone 4 down into the D-cell. Alexandra makes a dive onto that S14. Oh, a little bit wide there. Across the line. Brandon, what a Alexandra, I think, just getting a little bit caught off guard how quick she did surge up onto the inside of that S14. As we get back to the line here, Orest into chase, Alexandra Fiau in the lead in that lovely S13. I love the styling of this car. The blue teal kind of colour is really, really nice with the nice little gold accents on that car. As we wait for the start line marshal to illuminate that red light, and we get the red lights. So 3, 2, 1, and the green lights will come on now as we get Alexandra to lead the line as Orest chases her out as we initiate into the first corner through inner clip 1 and outer zone 1 very nicely. Orest very close here to Alexandra as we transition through outer zone 2, filling the zone very, very nicely. Missing outer zone 3 is as we come to outer zone 4 with a pile of smoke. Orest appearing through that smoke, and he gets lovely up and close onto the door of Alexandra Fiau across the line. Wow, what a run. Chase run from Orest there in that S14. Brandon, talk us through it.
Orest just doing exactly what he needed to do in that chase. Look at this. Nice smooth proximity setting up for this transition through this Manji section, as you can see here. Comes around, whips it in, and then goes for the dive and manages to make it work. Obviously a little bit of a check up of angle, which allowed him to come back out again, but obviously Alexandra wasn't on the best lead line either. She was very shallow into outside zone 3, but brings it back into 4 nicely and recovers on that line But as you come through into 5, Orest tries to find the dive, which he does right here, but is it going to be enough going through? We'll have to see.
Orest doing an awful lot in the chase position there, really doing a very tidy job getting that S14. He seems to have that S14 really, really well set up for himself. Alexandra getting out of the car, giving a bit of a hand, going, it is what it is, but we don't know until we get the official decision from the judges as we wait for that to come through. This is our last battle of top 16. After this, we will have our top 8 and we'll have our grid locked in. So whoever wins this battle will come up against Jakob Krul. And David will talk to us now.
So
I believe David will talk to us now as we get the decision. And the decision is Alexandra Fiau getting through to the top 8. I believe we will hear from David Callas now, our head judge.
actually, you said it very nicely from what we heard that the lead run was the thing which actually at the end decided. When we said on the briefing, you as a leader should not try run away. You should not be trying to just get the speed and not fulfill all your tasks. And that happened in the first part for Orest, where he really cut it hard, the inner clip, and he was not able to even reach the outer zone 1. So that was a huge mistake. And then also he was able to put wheel off and put some other small mistakes. But Ola also had some small mistakes in her run, but those even out. But that huge cut in the first corner just sealed the deal.
Yeah, so Alexandra Fiau getting the win there, explained by David Kalesh there. Lead runs there for Alexandra, doing everything there for her, saving her bacon there. And in fairness, it was a very, very good lead run. And Orest having those just few little mistakes there creeping in. Unfortunately, he will be dropping out in top 16 as we get the crowd doing a Mexican wave here in Słomczyn Autodrom.
AutoZone?
Beautiful, beautiful. AutoZone? No, not AutoZone. That is a completely different thing in America. So this track, obviously, look at the size of that grandstand. It is unbelievable. Loads of people turning out for this championship round 1. Of course, round 1s can be some of the most exciting rounds of the year because everybody's just come back from an off season. Some of the cars were apart, and we get them doing that Mexican wave. Everybody's hyped up, wants to see some drifting after a long off season.
Look at the size of that crowd. That is insane. That is a lot of people. And I've got to say, it is a massive testament to how many people want to come and watch these drivers absolutely throw down. But of course, without them, this wouldn't be the same. Without anyone coming onto the stream and everything, like we do it for the spectators. It's a great spectator sport, and we appreciate everyone coming in.
When you come to DMP to Słomczyn in Warsaw, you can see the tent with Bara Europe sign on it. What is the Bara engines?
Our engines is the 4-liter engine R6. Like you know, it's the 2JZ have the 3-liter engine, and our advantage is the 1 liter more. And we have the same or more power from our engine, like the people who use the 2JZ, yeah. And we like this engine. We have the 2 engine in our vehicle, like our drift cars, smaller one and bigger one. And now we don't have the problem with this engine for the last 3 years, and we are really happy. We like this. We still improve this engine and have the huge power like you see last day.
But what about the modification of it? It's easier than into JZ or the same?
For us, yes, because we have the engine on the stock. We have all of the parts from the Australia. In this car, what we see, this is the engine, like the serial engine, only use the turbo, bigger turbo, and this is from the gasoline for the vehicle. But in my car we have the big engine from the normal car and also the big turbo and a lot of power, like the more than 900 horsepower and more than 1000 torque.
So more power means less damages to engine?
For us, yes, because it's a 4 liter and we use it for the, like I say, for the last 3 years we use the same 2 engines in our vehicle and we don't have the damage and we are happy.
Bara engines, check how they do on the track. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so Bara engines being developed, lots of different engines being developed across the globe here now. A lot of people stepping away from the standard, which was a couple of years ago, of the 2Js and the RBs that Nissan and Toyota battled for years. Now we see even the Ford Bara being brought in. In the States, we've got Jack Shannon and Rome Charpentier going in with the S54. We've a couple of drivers in Europe trying out Mercedes engines, BMW engines, all these different types of engines coming to fruition, and that's not even remotely even touching on the V8 subject and all the different V8s we have on the market that people can get between LS, UZs, the Ford V8s. We've got a lot of engine development going on in the world of drifting at the moment, and those guys at AMZ Motorsport doing one of those, developing engines.
So we're going to be moving on to our top 8 now. And it's going to be intense as we have Nasser at the line
with Fabian Dorzinski as well. So that will be our first battle of the top 8.
This is going to be crazy, honestly. Here we go. So our first battle of the top 8, we have Fabian Dorzinski. I really butchered that name. I'm so sorry, Fabian. Against the one and only Nasser, coming in with that crazy Boss S13 with insane power.
Yeah, definitely Nasser out here to prove a point, show he is well able to handle the European scene of drifting as we get the red lights and we will get green lights.
Here we go.
Off the line.
Nasser leading in that insane S14-9. Look at Fabian though, straight away onto the door of Nasser as they come around the Manji section. Is he going to get the dive onto Nasser? Or just maybe over-angling a little bit, but makes the dive work. There he is, coming through towards out zone 4. So much speed, so much fluidity, so much angle as they come around into 5. Look at this from Fabian trying to get the dive on. And Nasser is got an incredible lead line.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at this. So, obviously a great initiation here from both drivers. Fabian really trusting Nasser in the lead position as he glues himself to the door of that S13 as they transition back here. That transition was bumper to bumper as they transition back here again. Fabian gonna make a quick little dive here, puts on a good bit of angle, gets the power down, started early so he can start to reel in Nasser nice and slowly. Look at how close that front wheel was to the back of Nasser's car as they are flying through that outer section. As they come down into the decel here, Fabian makes another dive, and this didn't even make sense how they didn't collide. Look at the gap between them here. Unbelievable stuff from both drivers. Nasser, he's that lead driver, he scored the 97 in qualifying. As a chase driver, you can definitely trust him to do exactly what you expect him to. So as we swap them around here, we'll get Nasser into the chase lane and Fabian Dorzinski into the lead lane, Brandon.
Yes, we do. Fabian being a very clinical lead driver, but as well as Nasser being an insane chase driver. Watching him in Poland at PGE Nardave at Drift Masters, obviously, he is an insane driver, so we can expect a lot from Nasser in this chase as we have the lights go green. Here we go, Fabian in the lead, Nasser in the chase as they initiate in through the course now, going through in the clip 1. Look at Nasser right there as they come through outside zone 1, transitioning now through the map. That's it, almost getting caught up as we come through now into outside zone 3. Nasser is right there, not letting Fabian go as they come around to outside zone 4, transitioning to 5 now. But look at Nasser on the door of Fabian as we come round to the last zone through outside zone 6, pushing that Fabian across the line.
Yeah, unbelievable run here from both drivers. So let's break it down. Through inner clip one, Nasser leaving a little bit of gap, see what Dorzinski does. When they transition back here, this is where we really see Nasser start to put on the pressure. You see he makes a dive here, and when they transition back bumper to bumper, Nasser makes another dive here, puts the power on early, and gets up onto the door of that S14. As we come around the big sweeper here around outer zone 3, we come down into outer zone 4. Nasser still applying that pressure to the S14. And you can see there the absolute aggression there from Nasser as they transition back. He transitions earlier than Fabian and gets back up onto the door of the S14, coming through the bank around into outer zone 6, wheel to wheel there, coming around across the line. Unbelievable chase run there from Nasser Al-Halbali. So we do have a decision in, and it is Nasser Al-Halbali getting the win, going through to the top 4. We will see him in the top 4, fighting it out for whoever wins the next battle between Suski and Mikołaj Zarzkeski.
So what we saw in the first run was almost perfect lead. We really like that. He was fulfilling all the zones as we were looking for. And on Fabian's chase, we saw like a huge dive in the first corner that he's able to keep up. But he put it wheel off in the place where he was not pushed to do that. So we needed to count it as mistake. And then big mistake was coming to outer zone 5, where he cut it a bit too much. He was even like surprised by that. It was visible on his type of driving, and we needed to count that as a mistake. Then the second run, Fabian's lead was pretty good. We did not like the last deceleration before the last corner, but otherwise it was really good lead. But the chase was not having much mistakes. Maybe the second transition was not that nice. He was going slightly inside, but overall Nasser was getting the win.
And there you have it. Explanation from the judges. Once again, thank you for the clarification on the result, as we have Mikołaj now in that chase lane waiting to be sent down against Mateusz Suski. Almost said Kuski, I don't know why. But yeah, Mateusz Suski in the lead with that A90 Supra, 1,000 horsepower, and then yeah, this is going to be something. God, look how bright those headlights are. I can't get over that. But Mikołaj with 200 horsepower less has got to definitely push a bit harder, as we have Suski now initiating in with that S50 is an A90 Super. We got an S15 behind him though. Look at that from Mikołaj, right there, snapping behind Suski, but not quite where he needs to be as he comes around outside turn 3. Looking very nice though in the lead. Maybe could be deeper in a lot of the zones right now, so not the best line. Oh, a big spin out. Don't know what happened there. Something definitely unsettled the car. That was definitely. Someone's going to be stood there. One of the marshals is going to be stood there, going safe.
So yeah, definitely something gone wrong there in the lead there. So if we look here, when we initiate, both drivers initiating very cleanly through the first section of the course. That S15 there of Mikołaj Zarzkeski, really looking to see the inside of the door of that Mark 5 Super. He cuts a bit of track here, but if you look after that outer zone 3, there's so much power and grip in that Mark 5 Super that it forces him inside, and he misses outer zone 3. Now that does upset the lead, and he actually misses outer zone 4 there too, so that would upset the chase run there. But when we come in here is what we really want to look at. Over rotation, tries to foot brake. He is a little bit inside, and when he tries to put on that foot brake to get out to that outer zone 6, he ends up just looping it. And fair play to Mikołaj there, avoiding the contact. Contact was not made between those two cars, although Mikołaj was smoked out and could not really see anything there, I doubt. But we will bring them back to the line to get the second half of this run. Look at how wide the rear of that Super is in them arches. Unbelievable amount of space in those wheel arches there to fit a massive tyre there if you really, really wanted to.
That was definitely something in that first run, and those cars look incredible. But now we have them back at the line. ready to go once again, and we have Nikolaj in the lead as we have Matusz in the chase as we swap them around, send them back down. It's going to be an interesting one with that first half of the battle, but here we go through inner clip 1 to outer clip 1. Matusz getting a lot of grip, as you can see, but Nikolaj doing a very nice job in the lead so far, as there's a bit of a bobble there in the lead and the chase. They both have a couple of corrections as they come around into outside zone 5, doing a very nice job as they come towards the last zone, fulfilling it beautifully and across the line.
Yeah, let's have another look at this. So Nikolaj out in the lead there, doing quite a tidy job through the first 2 out zones there. As we transition back here, we see Suski hitting that cone and transitioning back, trying to make this dive nice and early. Not really gaining as much as he'd want to, as quick as he'd want to, but he does manage to get up on the door of that S15 as they do miss outer zone 3 yet again. As we're coming around to outer zone 4 here, coming down a little bit of a gap forming there again as we transition back. We have Suski coming in to make another dive onto the door of that S15 and not really getting the power down as quick as he'd like as well to stay with the S15. We will have to get the judges to make the decision. I really have no idea where this is going to go decision-wise at all, Brandon.
Yeah, definitely is an interesting one to say the least, but both these drivers hopping out of their cars just to kind of go, "You're right, bro. Yeah, now we're chilling," as we wait for their result. Obviously, we've got some people talking in the background, cheering them on. 2 really nice looking cars, very tidy. But now it's all dependent on who made that mistake first and was the cause. It was a very fast-paced mistake. But they seem to be just having a little chinwag just to kind of talk about what happened. Either that or they're talking about dinner. But
talking about dinner, what are we going to go get for dinner after this?
I don't want to talk about
Chinese
food. I want to talk about drifting.
What are we thinking? Japanese food. We bought 2 Japanese cars on the line here.
Oh,
so
nah, don't, because I would kill to go and have some ramen right now. I need to go back to Yokohama and get some ramen.
We've another half of this top 8 or top 8 to do, and top 4 and the finals before we do anything, Brandon. So we wait for the decision on this battle here between Mateusz Suki and Mikołaj Zarakewski. As the guys are waiting patiently down there, we can see Jakub Król and Alexander Fiau in the background there, lined up, ready to go. And again, big thank you to our sponsors. You can see the start line there, the modal starting line there, as the guys are waiting to start their runs. And as we wait for the judge's decision, deliberating a lot about this here, we do have a decision, and the decision is Mikołaj Zarakewski getting the win and taking out Mateusz Suki in that Mark V Supra. So Mateusz Suki dropping out in top 8, and Zarakewski going into the top 4 to face Nasser Alhambri.
You know what? It is crazy. Like, not long ago, hardly anyone was drifting A90 Supras, and now it's like one of the most used chassis in competition drifting. Let's just put that into mind.
We are looking at a very new chassis that's in development. A lot of guys were trying to compare them at the start to GT86 chassis. There's a few little differences there. Just with the short back end on them, especially with raw runs, you can run into issues there. But we will go back to the line to start out our top 4, Brandon. Or no, this is our top 8 still.
Yep, so this is Alexander Fial with Jakub Król in the lead. So we've got the S49 versus the S13 as we just wait for our start line marshals to send them off. Here we go, the lights go red. And now they go green. Here we go. Jakub Król and Alexander Fial initiating in now to inner clip 1, now to our clip 1, doing a very nice job so far. Jakub's got a lot of pace on him. But obviously Alexander Fial's really trying to keep up with that pace, getting the dive finding that door as they come around now and transition into outside zone 5. Oh, Alexander spinning out. Maybe contact was just made as they come across the line, maybe going in a bit too hard. We'll have to see what happened now as we come into the replay.
Let's have a look at this now, Brandon. As we come through inner clip 1 and outer zone 1, we get the transition there. Alexandra, obviously with that little bit of gap, she wants to make up that pace as quick as possible. So she does cut the line there a little bit to try get up onto the side of Jakob Kroll. And she does just that, gets within proximity there that she wants to be in, maybe a little bit tighter she would want, but she is closer than she was before. When we transition back down into the D-cell here, this is really where we're looking at for this spin from Alexandra Fiau, and she does make a bit of contact with the door there of Jakob Kroll, pushing him a little bit wide as she spins out. So I'd wonder, was Alexandra being a little bit too aggressive there, looking for that door and looking for that top 4 finish?
Definitely, I think there was a little bit too much aggression going into that last section, but we'll have to see what happens as we spin them around. Jakob Kroll now in the chase lane with Alexander Fiau in the lead. Now it is anyone's game, so we'll have to see what they do with this. Obviously, Alexander Fiau making that mistake in the chase, so we'll have to see. Would Jakob Kroll make the same mistake? We'll have to see. As we have them both there on the start there. Jakob Kroll just going a bit further back, getting a bit of a run up, making sure he's got
Alexandra
plenty of speed.
is quite fast in the lead, so he will know that.
Definitely, and you can hear the sequential locking in to first gear. Love that sound as well. One of my favourite sounds in motorsport. Here we go as the lights go green. Alexander Fiau in the lead, Jakob Kroll in the chase. Nice little weight transfer initiation there. Jakob doing a really nice job of keeping it nice and close as they transition now for the first time and back again, swinging that car across into outside zone 2, doing a solid lead so far. But Jakob Kroll makes a mistake in the chase. A big bubble which makes him lose a lot of proximity as they come around into outside zone 5, into that last hairpin of outside zone 6 and across the line. Jakob Kroll making a very uncharacteristic mistake in the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's have a look at this now when we come through. Very nice again. Everybody has kind of figured out this initiation with the first 2 zones. So when we come through this Manji section, let's have a look at outer zone 2. Let's see how they fill it. So Alexandra doing a very decent job filling that there. Jakob Kroll having to cut a little bit of angle. He does have a straighten here, and that's a very uncharacteristic mistake from Jakob Kroll. Maybe he didn't pull a gear properly or something like that. Fiau to get that one more time she'd be looking for out of this. Obviously with the spin in that first run, there's a lot of work there that she would have to do, and it's very hard to overturn a 10-0 advantage, and we do have a decision, and Jakob Kroll gets the win in that S14-9, going through to the top 4. Alexandra Fiau knocked out in top 8, doing an incredible job today and yesterday for the women in drifting. Really starting to see some women drivers come out of the woodwork here and putting it up to some of the top guys in the world. We're not just talking in Poland here, we're talking in the world. Jakob Kroll being that Drift Masters level driver, no slouch when it comes to drifting. And talking about no slouches when it comes to drifting, we have Cooper Proganski and Valery Shevelov here. Shevelov even. On the line, Brandon. What are we gonna see here?
I do believe this is one of our last battles in the top 8, from my knowledge.
It is indeed.
So we are just awaiting. I'm just trying to look at. Okay, so yes, this is our last battle in the top 8 as we wait for the start line. Here we go. Jakub Pyszczonski in the chase of Shevelov in the lead. Look at that between the two of these amazing drivers as they come around now into the margin section, coming around into outside zone 2, doing a lovely job. Jakob just right there, hardly able to be shaken as they come into the last detail, but a bit of a bobble there potentially as they come around and across the line.
Yeah, let's break this down very, very fast, as it was a very, very fast battle run there. So good initiation from both drivers. Progonski not given really much room for Shevelov. Taking out that cone on the way. Progonski goes to make a dive onto Shevelov, coming into the big sector 3 here, the big sweeping section of the track. Definitely trying to reel him in a little bit more and a little bit more, a little more. And of course, he does get into that proximity. You can see him cutting that tiny bit of angle, getting up onto the door of that S13 as they transition back here. This is where we saw a little bobble, a little stall up there from Kuba Progonski, and a wash wide there from Shevelov, and nearly triangulating that again, coming into outer zone 6, a little bit wide. So both these drivers on absolute rails at the moment. They've had unbelievable battles all day long, and those cars definitely have to be getting hot and hurting at the moment with the way these guys have been driving them today.
Of course, and obviously every single driver, you got to think all the finances it takes to compete in this level. It is very, very risky putting your car on the line every run, so kudos to them for doing that, because it'd make me cry just thinking about it. But now we have Jakob Puszonski in the lead with Varily Shevelov in the chase, and Shevelov is definitely no slouch in the chase either. He is a very aggressive chase driver, but Jakob is a very precise. Whoa, almost getting caught up there. I don't think Shevelov expected Jakob to come that far in, but he swallows a cone and it takes the car out. Potentially that has done damage to his engine as Jakob Puszonski finishes up his lead. You could see Shevelov's car just swallow that cone underneath. Could have torn a belt off. It could have thrown the car. It could have got stuck in the steering rack. But I don't think Shevelov was ready.
A very good position there to throw a belt off the car. You can see it goes perfectly underneath the car. Not maybe doing damage underneath that as Kuba Progonski does finish off. It was a very weird trap there just to see what the initiation speed was, because that was insane how quick they were going through that section. So let's see, do we get both of them back to the line? We do indeed. So Shevelov's car okay apparently, as we get them both into the decision area, and we will get them out of the cars to have a quick chat. And we do have a decision, and the decision is Jakob Progonski going through to the top 4. He will be facing off against Jakub Kroll. So two Kubas in the top 4 against each other. This is shaping up to be an unbelievable top 4, Brandon.
Definitely. Obviously, Jakub Puszonski being one of Poland's best drivers, as well as Jakub Kroll, two of the biggest hitters coming into the top 4. And honestly, I'm very excited to see what happens. But obviously, we will be moving into our top 4 of round 1 of the season. So we got Nasir versus Mikolaj, Jakub Kroll versus Jakub Puszonski. Could we see Nasir versus Puszonski? I would love to see that.
Every chance of that, and even Nasir versus Kroll, Mikolaj versus Kroll, Mikolaj versus Progonski. I don't care what way this goes. This is gonna be unbelievable.
Ola Fijał z nami. Cześć, Ola.
Cześć.
No słuchaj, rozmawialiśmy, trochę żeśmy rozmawiali przed tą rundą. Mówiłaś, że sprzętowo czujesz się mocna, że głowa dojechała, że te treningi bardzo dobrze. No i wyszło dobrze, no bo umówmy się, z Kubą Królem przegrać to żaden wstyd też,
No to było do wygrania, tylko kurczę, popełniłam taki spory błąd, ale cieszę się, że to poszło w tę stronę, że już zaczynam przesadzać, niż trzymać się na dystans, więc jestem zadowolona i mimo wszystko top 8 w Mistrzostwach Polski to już jest też dobry wynik.
No bo wiesz, tak na dobrą sprawę tą agresję tutaj u ciebie od tej jazdy w parach widać tak naprawdę od samego początku, a chyba tego trochę brakowało w ostatnich latach, nie?
Agresywna jestem, ale brakowało tego w samochodzie faktycznie.
No dobrze, to kto wygra w takim razie pierwszą rundę driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski na Słomczynie?
A kto jest w grze, bo byłam trochę zajęta i się nie orientuję.
Czekaj, spójrzmy na start.
Ja myślę, że tutaj ja trzymam kciuki za Zakrzyga w tym momencie.
Trzymamy kciuki, Olaf i Jał. Życzymy powodzenia na kolejnych rundach. Dzięki.
Dziękuję bardzo.
So there we go, a little interview there with Alexander Fial. But now at the line for your first top 4 battle of the season, we have Mikolaj versus Nasir. This is going to be something. Obviously, two really nice air chassis, two really good drivers as well. Every single battle in this top 4 is going to be insane. And it is, yeah, I'm very excited. Kian, are you ready for me to destroy my voice? Because that's going to happen right now as Nasir leaves the start line, as Mikolaj is right there on the tail of that S13 as he comes out and taking one into our one as he comes out. Oh, but Mikolaj just not in the right spot, taking out the cone. And once again, it's back to back between two runs. Chase driver taking out one of those cones as Nasir has a smooth drive as they come around now into zone 5. Mikolaj just trying to get the proximity back. He clearly didn't. That cone is definitely somewhere, and I don't know whether it's underneath the car.
I believe that cone is in the stratosphere, Brandon, but we will watch this back here. Look at this, it's just a little bit of a straighten, cuts the angle there from Mikolaj as he comes back. He just transitions at the wrong spot. His car a little bit unsettled from that first initiation there as Nasir fills that outer zone 2 and just continues his lead run like he does. He is unbelievable in the lead run on this track. As we all know, look at the 97-point run he scored in qualifying yesterday. Really suiting this track and his driving here. As we transition back, Mikolaj continuing out the run, trying to make up as many points as he can just to try. He knows that he probably has some sort of disadvantage here, so trying to get back up on the door of that S13 as quick as possible after that big error. Yeah, we'll have to see how this goes in the second half of this run. Nasir, no slouch in the chase either. Now, will his spotter tell him, relax a bit, you have an advantage, calm down? Nasir, some smart driving here from the man from El Salvador, maybe? We'll have to see what happens in the second half of this battle, but let's be honest here, Mikolaj's leads have been solid all day as well, so they will be very easy to chase, Brandon.
Definitely, Mikolaj got a lot of work to do here in this lead, but Nasir, no slouch in the chase, just like you were saying, Kian. But here we go, the final half of this battle. Mikolaj in the lead, Nasir in the chase. Here we go as they fire it down the main straight, coming in to the initiation. Nasir knows he's got the advantage. He doesn't have to do too much as they look around mid-boundary section towards outside zone 2. But look at the dive from Nasir. He's getting right there onto that pocket where he needs to be, as you have the drones following behind these guys. Go to the outside zone 4. Look at the dive. Oh, but Nasir getting caught in that transition, and he's waiting to have to put it down. It's all drama.
We're gonna have to take another look at this. So on initiation, straight off the bat, Nasir leaves a gap, but he doesn't actually fully initiate. He has to re-initiate a little bit, almost as he comes through outer zone 1, gets the transition back, makes that car work very hard to get back up onto the door of that S14-9 of Mikolaj as they power them cars around the long sweeping sector 3 here, through outer zone 3 and around to outer zone 4. Nasir doing everything in his power to get up on the door of that car. As they transition here, this is where we saw a little bit of an issue. Nasir goes straight, perfectly straight here, and has to re-initiate halfway through this corner to get around. Maybe he missed a gear. Who knows? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see as we pull around to the decision area again. Could we be seeing this go? Where will this go? Where will the judges see this fault? Who's going to be at fault for everything?
I have no idea, Kian, but look at them. Great camaraderie between these two amazing drivers. And I've only just realised how small Nasser looks compared to some of the other drivers on the grid. He's not exactly a small guy, but...
I was about to say, Nasser isn't a small guy, so are all the other drivers just really, really tall?
That's what I'm thinking. Oh, honestly, what an amazing battle, though. Obviously, both the drivers making mistakes, but it is going to be a one more time. So we're going to be seeing them back again. And they don't look they do not look disappointed in that. They know that well, we all know that they want to have a cleaner battle. They want to win fairly. So
Yeah.
they're going to be happy to be able to win again.
We were checking the both lead runs. Both lead runs were really good. We really liked how the drivers were approaching the track, but still there was like small, tiny mistakes here and there. Actually, very similar ones. For example, both drivers were quite wide on that straight part. Then Mikołaj Zaksewski was having way better last corner. Nasser Al-Harbali was having way better the big corner. So it's like evening out, and we'd rather see that one more time.
There we go. So the judges once again confirming the decision, and yeah, that is a big compliment coming from those judges as well. Obviously, these drivers are going absolutely hard into this track, and is not an easy one to do. But right now, we have our other top 4 battle going in with Jakub Brzonski in the chase in that GR86, chasing in Jakub Kroll in that S15, and I know, sorry, S14.9. I will get that down, I promise. But 2 amazing drivers, 2 amazing cars, 2 of the biggest drivers in Poland, now going head-to-head as they come out of the start line as the lights go green. Here we go, Jakub Kroll leading in, Jakub Brzonski. But look at that from Jakub Brzonski right there from the get-go. Look at the transition between these 2 as they come into outside zone 2. Absolutely pinpoint accurate there from Jakub Brzonski. And Jakub Kroll absolutely insane on the lead as well as they transition now into outside zone 5. But look at Jakub Brzonski on their door from the get-go, wheel to wheel as they come across the line.
You could not fit a sheet of paper between the 2 of these drivers at some of these transitions. Look at this initiation from Jakub Brzonski onto Jakub Kroll. Unbelievable here for the first 2 sections. They transition back. Look at this transition, bang, another quick snappy transition back, and Kuba right there on the door, that S14.9 in that GR86. Look at how calm and collected he is in the chase, following in Jakub Kroll. Jakub Kroll doing a perfect lead line here. Kuba fully trusting him in the chase. And this is giving us an absolute unbelievable battle now. We've only one half of the way through this battle, and we have just witnessed perfection in the lead and the chase here from both drivers. Oh my God.
I have goosebumps. I actually have goosebumps. I can't lie, I'm getting emotional. It's such an honor to be able to commentate for these kind of battles with such big names. This is insane, and we hope you're all enjoying this as we flip them around. We now have Jakub Brzonski in the lead with Jakub Kroll in the chase. Honestly, this could be the battle of the day, hands down. These 2 just know each other's driving styles very, very well. They've done a lot of testing together in the past, a lot of practice, and these drivers clearly know each other very well. And it's reflecting in the driving as the start line marshal gets ready to send them down. Here we go, a chance for the spot in the final. Jakub Brzonski in the lead, Jakub Kroll in the chase, behind, leading in an S15. But look at this from Jakub Kroll, as the transition across, Jakub Kroll getting right there, maybe a little bit of a gap, but he gets the dive on as he hits the outside zone. Absolutely insane as we come through 4. Big transition now into outside zone 5, but Jakub Kroll gets right onto the door of Jakub Brzonski, pushing him across the line. What a battle!
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this. Jakub Kroll absolutely on the door of that G86. Both drivers missing that inner clip 1 there as we transition back through the Manji section. And look at this dive here from Jakub Kroll. Straight up onto the door, reeling, and perfect placement of that car around that outer sweeping section here. As we power both those cars down into the power alley here as we come down towards the decel zone into the hairpin. we see Jakub Kroll make another dive yet again onto that GR86. Cooper Pergonski doing not a whole lot wrong other than that inner clip to begin with. Look at that. Unbelievable proximity from Jakub Kroll here as the guys get out of the cars. If you're in attendance, give them a big round of applause there.
I mean, I'm already
That is
doing it.
unbelievable.
I'm sat here in my room, just honestly gobsmacked. But two titans of the Polish drifting world coming together to make an amazing top 4 battle here. But there can only be one winner going into the final. Obviously, whoever doesn't make it through in this one also still gets a chance. And they get a chance to move on into the battle for third. So we'll just have to wait and see how this goes. As we just wait on that judge's call. Obviously, these two drivers looking very warm and sweaty, as it is a very, very warm day there in Słomczyn. And the winner going into the final is Jakub Kroll, moving into the final, which means Jakub Pergonski is going to be getting a chance at the podium still for battle for third for the FMIC EU driver, Jakub Kroll, moving into the final. But who is he going to be meeting? That is the question.
It was that Kuba did mistake, but yeah, which one? The biggest mistake was when Kuba Przegoński was hitting on his lead, and he was not completely fulfilling the Autodrom 1. That was that small one mistake which at the end decided.
Wow. Very, very minimal things. That is
actually,
insane.
it was split decision. One of the judges wanted to go one more time, and 2 judges voted for Kuba Kroll. But I really like that chase. That was really amazing. We were all clapping for that. But, you know, without good lead, there's no good chase. And we were saying that because of that mistake in the beginning of the battle, there was not possibility for Kuba Kroll to actually follow his leader that close.
There we go. So thank you to David there for explaining why they chose who they chose. And I do believe we do have a little interview ready to go with Jakub Kroll.
Kuba Kroll z nami. No Kuba, kolejny król tego toru upadł, no ale jak już wspominaliśmy przy ostatnim wywiadzie, no nazwisko zobowiązuje.
Tak, no jakby do pojedynku z Kubą trzeba podejść naprawdę na poważnie. Wiedziałem, że jego chase był świetny, więc jechałem w trybie all-in, starałem się jak mogłem. No i co, udało się. Dzisiaj ja byłem lepszy, ale no mam nadzieję, że wam się podobało. Na pewno daliśmy z siebie wszystko. No i co, no jedziemy dalej, zobaczymy co będzie. Trzymajcie kciuki.
No tak, 2-1, jeden z sędziów obstawiał na one more time, 2 była za tobą, więc faktycznie no, na żyletki poszliście z Kubą Przegońskim podczas tych przejazdów. No ale co, coraz bliżej tego celu, który sobie założyłeś i który chyba był jasny od samego początku.
Tak, no będziemy walczyć do końca. Jesteśmy w finale A, więc jedziemy po najwyższe stopnie podium. No i co, no trzymajcie kciuki, żeby się udało. Gratulacje dla Kuby, przejazdy były świetne, jechaliśmy na centymetry, więc keep drifting fun.
Dzięki, Kuba Król.
Dziękuję bardzo.
And there you have it. So congratulations to Jakub Kroll to moving into the final. Cooper Pergonski still got a chance at the podium in the battle for third, but obviously we are just waiting on one more time battle for the top 4 between Nasir and who was it again? Are you there, kid?
Mikołaj Zerkeski.
That was it. Honestly, Goldfish Brain coming back into play once again. But yeah, oh, there he is. There's Mikołaj. So one of these drivers will be meeting Jakub Kroll in the final, and one will be meeting Jakub Pergonski in the battle for third. But who will be getting into that final, we will find out very shortly. We're just waiting on Nasir to get back to the line.
So there you go, Mikołaj Zerkeski on the line there, talking to our start line marshal.
I'm just thinking,
settled in the car.
I've just thought I'm not seeing Nasir anywhere. Have we got a mechanical? We've got a problem with Nasir's car, which means Nasir is bending out. He is bowing out. That is a big unfortunate thing to happen there. Nasir is not going to be making it into this top 4 battle, which means he'll be in for the battle of third, which means Mikolaj is going into the final. Wow. That is very unfortunate on Nasir's end. It was a shame to not have a nice battle to move in there. And apparently there is a problem with the car, but we're just trying to find out at the moment. As soon as we can get more information, we'll try and relay that over. But obviously Nasir does...
The worry now is, will he make the 3rd and 4th battle with Kuba Przegonski? We don't know what we're hearing. We don't know what the problem is with the car yet, whether or not he will make it out for that 3rd and 4th battle. But Mikołaj Zarakowski doing exactly what he needs there. Just complete one corner, get the buy run sorted, and get the car ready for finals.
He will be meeting Jakub Kroll in the final. Oh, it looks like we do have the youth drivers back out again, which is really cool. So we've got a nice little demonstration here of the younger drivers showing off what they can do, just proving that talent isn't restricted to age. As we just await on seeing what can happen here. Look at the flicks from these lads, going crazy into this. This kind of reminds me of Roy Fest that happens in the UK. Where it's just pure party driving.
Yeah, definitely these guys enjoying themselves. Not every day you get to drive in a track being used in a very worldwide renowned competition.
I've just realised, you see that S13 with the big wing?
Yes.
That's got Goku on the side. That is sick.
It does indeed.
That is so cool. I'm a massive Dragon Ball fan, so I have a soft spot towards that car.
Yeah, these guys getting out, giving a bit of a wave, a little bit of a drift demo there for everybody in the grandstand. They don't look very young to me at all, Brandon. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, one of them looks young from the back, so maybe it's just a little bit of fun. Maybe these are local drivers coming into from a feeder series to kind of have some fun and just do a little bit of skids for you.
Yeah, and we have our 140 kilometer an hour 125cc go-kart coming out again.
You can see Patrick there. Patrick sat in the background there, our Sami Pro winner, just watching all the action and having some fun. But this thing is crazy. I love this thing.
The speed of that thing is nuts.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I want one.
I want one too. How much do they cost? Where can I get one?
Quite a lot, but I'm hearing that Nasir's car is being fixed. So there is potentially a chance that he will have a go at the battle for third. So we'll keep you all updated as we find out.
All weekend that car the engine was on the blink, so he's saying that it was on his last legs there, and they did some things to try give it a little bit more life, and obviously it worked right up until now, but hopefully
apparently
we can get Nasir out for...
Apparently is to do with the brakes.
Apparently, yeah. Interesting. Yep. Interesting.
So potentially could have had a line
altogether.
blow. Potentially, yeah, it could potentially have had a leak in one of the lines, maybe an airlock in his braking system, or it could be a seized caliper for all we know. You never know, it's an S chassis, things happen. It's an old Japanese car. But one thing that isn't unreliable is this unbelievable Mokka.
Yeah, can we get that out for a battle? I want to see that.
To be fair, it's
probably going to go around and that have a drag race really quick. That would be unbelievable.
That would definitely be something. Definitely.
Yeah, so Nasir having issues with his engine all weekend, doing stuff to give it new life, and then another issue raising its head there. But this is drifting, and you can guarantee that every single team member from every team is down there in the pits trying to give him a hand and get him parts or work on the car. So as we have our stunt man on the bike come out here now, doing some wheelies, doing some skids.
I'll never get over this thing.
I might do some research into whatever motorsport this is. I want to watch a lot of it. This is very cool.
Can't hear nothing on limiter.
Yeah, I think it's something that we do forget that is unbelievably cool. We're watching cars with 4 wheels going around. We forget 2 wheels is also a thing. And they're also incredibly cool when they're being driven with such skill and precision as well, like this man on track at the moment. Look at that, like that.
Look, he's even
An
wrapping his
acrobat
legs
on a
over.
bike.
That is some
unbelievable
insane
stuff.
control. We don't need drifting, we've got this. Look at him. Going absolutely ham. As he does a massive endo. Wow, what talent that is. I mean, I'm not a bike person, but he's definitely winning me over right now. I mean, I think he's going to try to slap his seat. I do think he tries to slap his seat on the floor as well, which is terrifying because that's basically 90 degrees on the floor. And just absolutely slamming that thing around. What a guy. What a talent. Go on, seat slap. Oh no, he's going to stand on the bike.
Unbelievable scenes here. And this is what you get at a drift event. These are some of the things you can see.
This is MotoGP now.
Yep, we have switched motorsports altogether. We are now watching bike stunts and only bike stunts. We will not have our top 4 battles. We will just watch this all day.
Yeah, no. I'm going to take that back because I do love drifting. So.
You see Kuba Prozganski pulling to the line there. So are we going to see Nasser pulling to the line?
I don't think we are. I think this is going to be... Just waiting on it. Yep. So there you have it. As we set the lights off, that is official. Kuba Prozganski getting 3rd place at round 1 of DMP 2025. It's Słomczyn as he goes and does a full run, a little victory lap. Obviously, this is not really the way he would want to have won, but Jakub Prozganski taking 3rd place. Unfortunately, Nasir just come into car problems that he could not fix in time. And unfortunately, that is the nature of motorsport. But look at the angle from Kuba there. That is insane. As now we have to crown our 1st and 2nd, but obviously Jakub Prozganski is getting 3rd place. What a car. I've just noticed he's changed the wing on the car as well, because in practice and qualifying he had a big GT wing, and now he's on this much smaller style wing, which I can't say I do like both.
You know, because
I'm just thinking, is it a downforce thing that he's changing? Maybe the car drives better with less downforce at the rear for this track.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody look into downforce other than the likes of Travis Pastrana with that Gymkhana car, but I've never seen anyone look into aerodynamics in drifting. Maybe Kuba knows something that we don't, but yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I thought it was always a styling thing with him, but we are going to have a bit of an interview here with Kuba Prozganski.
Ja tak naprawdę, drodzy Państwo, mogę oddać Kubie mikrofon. Kuba doskonale wie, co robi.
Tak, no dzisiaj miałem na pewno dużo szczęścia w tych parach. Przykro, że takie były pary, bo dużo problemów technicznych, ale można powiedzieć w tej ostatniej przejeździe, gdzie tutaj Maciek prosił o back entry, nie wiem czy się udało, ale starałem się, chociaż coś prawy tył nie działa dobrze, bo to prawe koło chyba jest źle ustawione, więc też trochę szczęścia. Ale bardzo się cieszę, no super kibice, ten aplauz nawet słychać w samochodzie, więc bardzo wam wszystkim dziękujemy jako zawodnicy na pewno, bo też po to się ścigamy, żeby dać wam super emocje i to po prostu jest prawdziwy drift.
50 zawodników stawiło się wczoraj w eliminacjach do klasy Pro na pierwszej rundzie driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski. Wielu zawodników z zagranicy. No widać, że te driftingowe Mistrzostwa Polski się rozwijają w tak naprawdę szalonym tempie. No i ta rywalizacja tutaj no już na żyletki tak naprawdę od top 32.
Na pewno bardzo cieszy. Im wyższy poziom, tym większe emocje, tym więcej my jako zawodnicy popełniamy błędów, tym więcej emocji dla kibiców, no i to się wszystko miesza. Na pewno to jest fajne, że jest tak mocna obsada z zagranicy, że tak jest ciężko tutaj walczyć od tego top 32, że trzeba każdą parę po prostu pojechać perfekcyjnie, więc to cieszy. Na pewno drifting w Polsce jest potężnie mocny, więc budujmy ten sport, żeby się po prostu rozwijał.
No i to nie tylko Warszawa, bo przed nami jeszcze 3 rundy, na których też na pewno emocji nie zabraknie i na które pewno warto było zaprosić.
Tak, na pewno te rundy następne będą jeszcze inne. Tak, tor Katowice, to będzie zbudowany tor na lotnisku, więc tam jest fajna, prosta, taki długi też łuk. Później tor Kielce, gdzie jest potężna prędkość wejścia, około 160 na godzinę. No i to tor Poznań, to już finał, gdzie tam będzie po prostu wielki tor i też fajna taka płynność jazdy w drifcie.
3. miejsce podczas pierwszej rundy driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski, wielokrotny mistrz Polski Kuba Przygoński. Zapraszamy w takim razie też na duży finał w tym momencie. Dzięki, Kuba.
Dziękuję bardzo. Trzymajmy kciuki tutaj za chłopaków, bo tu będzie na pewno dobra para.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jakub Przygoński, your third place finalist for today. But now we have the main show, the final battle of the day. Mikulaj versus Jakub Kroll. 2 incredible drivers, 2 incredible cars, but there could only be one winner. Who will be getting first and who will be getting second? We'll find out very shortly, as we have these 2 insane air chassis waiting to go as the start line marshal checks on them. This is your last battle of the first round of DMP 2025, the Polish Drift Championship. It's Słomczyn. Here we go. Jakub Kroll leading in. Michek. Oh my word! Look at the proximity between these two at the start as they're going to outside zone 2, doing an incredible job going into out 3. But look at the dive! Maybe just getting caught in the smoke though as they come into 4. He's definitely getting caught in the smoke, going too wide as they come around now. Jakub Kroll doing a lovely job in the lead as they come across the line. Unfortunately, I think he just got a bit caught up in the smoke.
Yeah, possibly there. As we look at the initiation there, look at the proximity here from Mikołaj Zarakowski onto Jakub Kroll. As they transition back here, they gets a little bit of a gap there. Jakub Kroll on Zarakowski as we come around the outer zone here, sweeping this sector 3, really placing the cars very, very well. Mikołaj getting up on the door there and then getting lost in the smoke for sure. He cannot see a thing there. Running wide is Mikołaj as Jakub Kroll flies down into the decel zone around the banked corner through outer zone 6 and across the line, and Mikołaj trying to make up as much proximity in that as possible. So we will run it back to the start line where we will swap them over, Jakub Kroll to chase in Mikołaj Zarakowski in the final run of the day for your round 1 of DMP Polish Drift Championship.
Yes, indeed. Oh, Jakub just giving a little door slap. Don't know what was going on there. I think we're having another issue with doors trying to close. I don't know what's going on there. They've got to be stop being so violent with their doors. But here you can see Mikołaj in the lead now with Jakub Kroll in the chase. What a weekend it has been. And as we get ready to send these boys down, we want to thank you all for being there. As you can see, the top drivers getting ready to just watch the battle. Here we go for the final time this weekend. Here is your final battle. Mikołaj in the lead. Jakub Kroll in the chase. Here we go. Nice initiation there between the two of them. Jakub Kroll could be a bit closer as they come around into the Manchi section, into outside zone 2, doing a lovely job though. Jakub Kroll doing what he needs to do, getting a nice dive there as they go through outside zone 3, coming around to 4. But look at the proximity there from Jakub Kroll as they transition now for the last time of the weekend, coming around to outside zone 6, putting the pressure on to Mikołaj there in the chase. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, let's watch this back. So Jakub Kroll, a little bit of a gap there on initiation, but he makes quick work of getting back up onto the door of that S14-9 of Mikołaj Zarakowski. As we transition back here towards outer zone 2, we come through outer zone 2. Zarakowski filling that zone very, very nicely. Kroll starts to reel him in here. Really, really nice proximity here from Kroll. Look at how close he is coming around towards outer zone 4 here. Unbelievable stuff from Jakob Kroll as we transition back here. Kroll has a little bit of a leaves a little bit of a gap, leaves Mikołaj to do his thing, and then starts to reel him back in again, coming across outer zone 6, and across the line goes the two Polish nationals in your final. Ladies and gentlemen, your first and second position, no matter what way this goes, both of these guys have put on some display there today as the marshal gets them to step out of their vehicles, and we will crown the winner.
Who is going to be your first place and who's going to be your second place in the last round? The last battle of the first round of DMP 2025. As we wait there, and your winner is Jakub Kroll, taking first place at the first round of DMP 2025, which means Mikołaj is your second place driver, along with Kuba Puszkonski taking third place in Pro. What a drive for Jakub Kroll and Mikołaj this weekend. Both drivers going absolutely ham, as well as every single other driver, both between semi-pro and pro.
Kuba Król z nami po raz trzeci. No słuchaj, no wszystkie założenia, o których mówiłeś wczoraj, zostały spełnione. Odhaczamy, pierwsza runda driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski za nami, 1-4.
Super, jestem mega szczęśliwy. Dziękuję wszystkim kibicom. Dałem z siebie wszystko, mam nadzieję, że wam się podobało. Starałem się jechać jak najbliżej. No i co, dzisiaj szczęście dopisało mnie, ale jakby rywale jeżdżą na naprawdę wysokim poziomie. Trzeba na nich uważać i naprawdę wysoko ich traktować.
No szczerze mówiąc nie było widać tutaj szczęścia, bo mam wrażenie, że tak naprawdę od pierwszych twoich przejazdów pokazywałeś, że no właśnie i to auto, i ty, i znajomości trasy w Słomczynie, no wszystko to zagrało chyba idealnie. Lepiej być nie mogło.
Lepiej być nie mogło, ale dzisiaj mieliśmy dużo szczęścia, bo udało znaleźć się przyczynę, czemu auto się nie prowadziło w top 32, w top 16 zaczęło, także no, mogłem rywalizować, także dziękuję dla mojego całego zespołu za przygotowanie samochodu. Jesteście niesamowici i samochód spisał się na medal.
Czyli co, widzimy się na drugiej rundzie, tam już nie będę pytał cię o cele, bo rozumiem, że cel jest bardzo jasny na ten sezon.
Jasne, oczywiście, jedziemy po wygraną, a za tydzień jesteśmy w Irlandii na Drift Masters, także trzymajcie kciuki, reprezentacja Polski wyjeżdża.
Zwycięzca pierwszej rundy driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski 2025, Kuba Król. Widzimy się za niecały miesiąc na drugiej rundzie. Dzięki wielkie.
Super, dzięki wielkie.
What a happy man. Jakub Kroll looking absolutely ecstatic over that win, and it's very well deserved. What a drive all weekend, both through all the way from qualifying all the way up till now. He has done an insane job, as well as Mikołaj. Every other driver in this championship has done an insane job, and it's the first round. There's been a lot of demons coming in to try and shake things up, as in the form of many things. Car issues, and that's it, unfortunately, dropping out into fourth due to car related issues. But what a weekend it has been, Kian, and I am so proud of everyone who has been involved to make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. What a weekend. It's been ups and downs for some drivers, but at the end of the day, Jakub Kroll taking the win here. What a drive he's had all weekend. He has been ready for go all weekend. Unfortunate there for Nasser Alhambri, dropping into fourth position with a car failure there, something with brakes there. We hope to see him back for round 2 better than ever, and he should have that car all fixed up, ready to go again. But from everybody on the team, big thank you. You have made our lives very easy as commentators, and thank you for putting on one of the best shows ever I've ever seen. So I think that's
chodźcie
us.
na tor, chodźcie na tor, schodząc z wału, zapraszamy do nas. Dawajcie, wszyscy. Ci, którzy schodzą z toru, można zejść z trybuny, można podejść, zobaczyć, ustawcie się tutaj,
we are
oczywiście
looking
bardzo
for a
dobre
podium
miejsce.
now.
Zachęcamy,
We'll be going down to our podium live.
Także za moment dekoracja zwycięzców, ceremonia wręczenia nagród. Zaczniemy od wręczenia nagród dla najlepszych zawodników w kwalifikacjach, dla 2 zdobywców pierwszego miejsca w kwalifikacjach, a potem właściwa dekoracja na podium, a my zapraszamy na tor. Pięknie się ustawiacie, jesteście niesamowitą publicznością. Dziękujemy wam bardzo. brawa! Kuba Przygoński! Na miejscu drugim równie proszę o duże brawa Mikołaj Zakrzewski! I oczywiście największe brawa i największy hałas dla zwycięzcy w klasie Pro, a jest nim dzisiaj Kuba Król! Także Kuba Przygoński, Mikołaj Zakrzewski, Kuba Król. Mamy 3 Polaków na podium. W końcu to driftingowe Mistrzostwa Polski. Udowodniliśmy, jacy jesteśmy mocni. Jeszcze zdjęcie wspólne przed nagrodami. I słuchajcie, panowie, ręce w górę, a wyraz jeszcze dajcie im duże brawa! Wszyscy! Niesamowita chwila, niesamowite emocje. Coś absolutnie pięknego. Kolejna runda driftingowych Mistrzostw Polski przechodzi właśnie w tym momencie do historii. Jeszcze nagrody, zaraz kolejne zdjęcia, potem szampana.
What an amazing day. Round 1 of 2025 DMP season. Wow. The Polish Drift Championship never disappoints.
Yeah, absolutely. This was an unbelievable event from start to finish, from yesterday morning all the way to right now. The podium ceremony just completed there. All of our drivers getting their trophies and having a bit of champagne there to celebrate as well, Brandon. What an event this was. Really, really fast paced. The level of talent here is off the charts.
Definitely. And on that note, we are going to have to bid you good night as we head off. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you at round 2 next month of DMP 2025.